Hello there, everyone. How are you? Happy Higher Self Wednesday. My name is Karen White, and I am the author of this book, Changing the Game Plan, which is my 12-step journey of how I work the steps. It is my 12-step journey, so take what you like and leave the rest. It is a great book. It is a workbook. It is exactly 56 pages, and it's broken down into how the sponsee and the sponsor should work the steps. And it is a wonderful, wonderful guideline. Over the years, I've had 4 sponsors. I'm in both sides of this program, the addictive part as well as the non-part. The addictive part is like if you're in NA, AA, Overeaters Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Stealers Anonymous, anything like that that's addictive. The non-side is your Al-Anon, your Nar-Anon, your CODA, and any of those types of programs. And so I'm really privileged to have had 4 sponsors over my 35 plus years in being in this program. And I took everything that they taught me because it changed my life. And I had put it together in a workbook, and I've been working like this for years and years with the girls that I sponsored, and I probably have worked these steps this way for just many years and with hundreds of women, maybe even thousands of women over my time being in the program. And this is my guideline. And 5 years ago, I decided to put it together and really tie it up where it could be in a book format, and I would like to share it with you. It is available on Amazon.com. It's meant to work with someone, a sponsor. I'm always a sponsor, but if you have a therapist, a clergyman, or somebody that is in the 12-step program that can guide you through the steps, it is meant to work with someone. I only use 4 books when I work the steps. I only use the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And listen, it doesn't matter what program you're in. You can use this guideline to work the steps, no matter what program you're in, because the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous is king for all of us. I don't care if you're in the non-room or you're in the addictive room. You cannot work the steps without reading the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You can try, but this is the Bible for the 12 steps, and it tells you exactly what to do and how to work the steps, and it guides you through. And then the other book that I use is the AA 12 and 12. These are the original books. This is the original literature. I also use, on the non-side, I use the Al-Anon 12 and 12, and then I use the ODAT. So those are the books that I am guided by in this book, Changing the Game Plan. So like I said, it is available on Amazon.com. Go out there, order it, and enjoy it. And I am so excited. We are in Higher Self Wednesday. We are in the 6th month, which means we're representing June. And you know what that means? Step 6. So we're going to study Step 6. We've been doing it. So if you haven't seen the last 2 videos, go back and see them. Take these videos, share them with whoever you want to share them with. They're yours. They're out there. Use your literature while I'm talking. Go through your literature. Use this as a time to study the steps for yourself. And listen, thank you all for all your support and all your love. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me on Programchild.net. And go under the comments section and put in a request, and I will get back to you within 72 hours. That's the only way that you're able to reach out to me. But let's get started. I'm so excited. I don't want, I only want these videos to be like anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes so that you can enjoy them, and I want to make sure that they're precise to what our literature is teaching us. So let's get started. One of the things that I always believe in doing is I think that every single word in the step is so important. So all through my guideline of changing the game plan, no matter what step you're on, you have to look up every single word in the step, because I believe that Dr. Bob and Bill Wilson put these steps together precisely. They use the exact words that we need to get an understanding so that we will change. And we are 12-step people. And what does that mean? We don't do anything unless we understand it. That's because we're complicated people. So I'm going to jump into the definitions, and we're going to get started on working the steps. I'm so excited. Step 6 is we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And that's so important. Listen to this. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Now, where is contrary of we are. And entirely, though, is the key to this word. Entirely means wholly or fully, complete or unreservedly, totally or thoroughly. And it's interesting. You cannot get entirely ready to remove your defective characters unless you work 1 through 5, okay? So you cannot jump around in these steps. You have to work them in order, because once you get through that 5th step, and if you haven't heard me speak on the 5th step, go back, and there's videos out there for you on the 5th step. Go back and look at that, because once you work through your 5th step, your sponsor comes up with these lists of character defects for you and to help guide you through them, so that these defects are important, because these are the things you've been looking for all your life. Why I do what I do. And in the 5th step, it comes out. That's the only way that you're going to find out these defects of character. Ready means completely prepared or in fit condition for immediate action or use. Isn't that powerful? It says completely prepared. So by the time you get to step 6, you are completely prepared to be able to accept and see exactly how you are through these character defects. 2 means toward a person, place, or thing, approach or reach. Have means to experience, undergo, or endure as joy and pain. Remove. Keyword, remove. To move from a place or position, take away, or off. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. All, the whole of. And these is a pronoun, a verb, and it's used to indicate a person, place, or thing, or idea. Isn't that interesting? Defects, to eliminate or deprive of something expected. To eliminate or deprive of something expected. An overthrow or overturning. Isn't that powerful? And we're going to talk about defects when we talk about remove a little bit more. Of is used to indicate distance or direction from, separation, deparation. Character, a person, especially with reference to behavior or personality. Is this like powerful stuff or what? This is what this step means. It's so powerful. And all this is a list. We're entirely ready to have God remove our defective character. We get the list when we work step 5, and now we are exactly looking at the stuff that we've been trying to find out about us. And most of the time, it's not very many things. I think maybe 6 to 10 things I had, and my sponsor was so gracious, and I do this in the book, Changing the Game Plan. All the time that we were doing my 5th step, she was writing down all my assets, and then I had all these assets. When she read them out off to me, I was just like, wow, I'm really like this. And I had very few defective characters that were like Pac-Man, eating up all these assets that were going on in my life. So now I have the list, and now I know, and now I'm ready to have God to remove these defects of character. Now we're going to talk about 2 words in here before I jump into the literature, and we're going to be studying today again from the AA 12 and 12. So get your AA 12 and 12 ready, because we're going to study, and we're going to start on page 66 again. Now, The two words is remove, which removes means to place, to move from a place or position. That's very important because some of these defective characters are, you have to understand, remove doesn't mean that they're just gone. Remove sometimes means they're out of place in the character that we're using them in. And so some of these defective characters, I just had to learn how to put them in the proper place. I was using them in the wrong areas in my life. That's why when you look up this word remove, it means to move from a place or position. So to take away or off. So it's important to understand that some of them are just being moved. Now there are some that have to go, but the majority of them, they're just out of place. And defects to eliminate or deprive of something expected. I love this. An overthrow or overturning. That's what we're doing. We're overturning our defects of character. We're overturning it by removing it to another place. So this is really, really, really good stuff. That's why it's so important that you look up every single word, because then you will get the understanding of what they're trying to do in that step for you. So we're going to jump in now, and I might come back to some of the definitions again. But we're going to jump into page 66, and I'm going to go back to where I left off on the last video, because this is so, so important. I love this part on page 66. It's actually in the second paragraph, and it starts off by saying, and this is so important because I want you to understand that it's very important to understand how we get to this point with having to know why we are the way we are. And the reason that we want to know that is because it says in the AA 12 and 12 on page 66, no one wants to be so proud that he is scorned as a braggart, nor so greedy that he is labeled a thief. No one wants to be angry enough to murder, lustful enough to rape, gluttonous enough to ruin his health. No one wants to be agonized by the chronic pain of envy or to be paralyzed by sloth. Of course, most human beings don't suffer these defects at the rock bottom levels. And it's so important that you understand out there. I understand it, and people in this room understand that you didn't want to do that. You did not want to be that way. That's why it's so important to get in these rooms and stay in these rooms and let these people give you the understanding and the unconditional love, because we understand that you did not want to do this, that you did not want to be this way. We are not understanding people because we have been ways that we did not want to be. And so we understand, and that's why we're trying to help you in this program get better and to find out these things, because we understand that you don't want to be that way. And so don't come in here thinking that, that these defects of characters, once you place them in another perspective or you remove them, that they might not come back and they might not haunt you again, or you might not let them back in, you might let them back in that same way. You today have choice, but that does not mean that you're not getting the program, because program is not based on perfection. You're not going to be perfect in here. This is just tools to help guide you through the way that you are. And sometimes we slip. Sometimes things come back to me and I'm thinking, how did that ever happen? Or why is this happening? And I'm attracting this. But the thing is, I have now a list of my defective characters so I can see what is going on with me, because now I know myself better. And now the things that I know about myself, I don't judge myself on it. I love myself through because I have the 12 steps and the tools to work through this stuff. So it's very important that you understand that so you can stay around these rooms, because you will never do it perfect. We don't do it perfect. That's why we need these rooms, and that's why we come to these meetings, okay? So it goes on to say, on page 66, it says, what we must recognize now is that we exalt in some of our defects. We really love them. And I love that part because that was me. So, it was so funny. Even though I wanted to know how I was scared to give up some of those defective characters because I didn't know what I was going to become. But I knew that with those defective characters, who I was, even though I hated it and I didn't like what I was doing or I didn't like what I had become, I was still not willing to give them up. And some of them I was really loving because they were so judgmental, and I was using them against people to make me feel better. So you have to be very aware of this. It goes on to say in page 66, isn't it true that we like to let greed massacre as ambition? I love that. We massacre. The word in that is masquerade, not massacre, masquerade. I love the point that we masquerade so many things in this program to get our way. And that's because we're not understanding ourselves. But then we get this program, we get it down in our system, we go to these meetings, we work the steps, and we find out about these defects of character. And all we have to do in this one step right now is get prepared. Be ready. Be ready when the time comes. Be ready to have them replaced or removed, and you will know that. It says on page 67, self-righteous anger also can be very enjoyable. Isn't that something? Self-righteous anger. It says, in a perverse way, we can actually take satisfaction from the fact that many people annoy us, for it brings a comfortable feeling of superiority. That is a huge one for me because I used to get annoyed very quickly, and I did not understanding that it was bringing on a superiority feeling, and that it was also making me judge that person, because they were annoying me, instead of just kind of figuring out a way. And see, that was my character defect of trying to deal with them if I had to deal with them, or walk away and change friends, change positions. You can't do that as easy with family members, but you can definitely put a distance there if you're not getting along with somebody, and you don't have to put yourself in that position. It says, gossip barred with our anger, a polite form of murder by character assassination, has its satisfaction for us too. And that is so true, because gossip, whenever we talk about someone or we talk about someone's character or something like that, it makes us feel like we don't have that character. But let me tell you something. If you see it in someone else, you cannot recognize what you don't have in yourself. And I remember my sponsor telling me that, and I was so shocked. She said, you're judging it because you have it yourself, and you recognize it because you do it yourself. But you won't face the fact that you're like that yourself. So be very careful of that gossip. It says here, we are not trying to help those we criticize. We are trying to proclaim our own righteousness. And that is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to proclaim and hold on to that character defect of righteousness by judging something that somebody else is doing that we know about because we do it ourselves. And it goes on to say in page 66, Else, why would we consume such great amounts of time wishing for what we have not rather than working for it? And that's really that defective character right there where it says wishing. That's a defective character instead of working for it. And you know why? Because we're very impatient. And the one thing that this program had to do is teach me to be patient. Because things take time. Even if you put your shoes on in the morning, it takes a minute to tie your shoestrings. Things that are going to happen that are going to be right or protect us, it's going to take a little bit of time. And so with these character defects, it's going to take a little bit of time. That's why this step says we get ready to have God remove all these defective character. It's not like today they're gone. It's that we get ready because as we see them, as we go through them, as we learn them, then we know how to place them or what we want God to do for them. And this is all this step is just being ready so when the time comes, you will be prepared to allow God to do something with those defects of character to make you feel better. It goes on to say on page 68, therefore it seems plain that few of us can quickly or easily become ready to aim at a spiritual and moral perfection. Therefore it seems plain that few of us can quickly or easily become ready to aim in a spiritual and moral perfection. And it goes on to say we want to settle for only as much perfection as will get us by in life, according, of course, to our variance and sundry ideas of what will get us by. And that's one thing that the program taught me is that I cannot live by what only gets me by. I've got to reach for higher goals when it comes to my sanity. I cannot just do this. I have to get in here. I have to dig in here. I have to get into the pain. I have to get into why I do what I do. Because just getting by and just doing that, it's not good for me. It slows me down. It keeps me trapped in the things that I don't want to be trapped in. I have to move at another higher level that I don't want to get by. I want to get well. I want to stay well. I want to fight for me. I want to work on me. I want to do what people suggest that I do. I want to try, at least try. Because what do I have to lose? It's not working anyway. So I might as well try something different and see if it works. And it goes on to say in the second paragraph, step 1, where we made the 100% admission we were powerless over alcohol. And remember, whenever I'm talking alcohol, no matter what program you're in, just take that word and put your program, can be practiced with absolute perfection. The remaining 11 steps state perfection ideas. They are goals toward which we look and to measuring sticks by which we estimate our progress. And it goes on to say, the only urgent thing is that we make a beginning and keep trying. And that's what I just said. Just keep trying. Fight. Just keep trying. It will break. It will break. You keep pushing toward it. It is not as big of a rock as you think. It will crack. And it goes on to say on page 69, and this is the last paragraph on page 69, at the very least, we shall have to come to grips with some of our worst character defects and take action toward their removal as quickly as we can. Now, that is talking about the stuff that we really do have to get rid of. There are certain things we got to get rid of: our drinking. You know, if we got to get rid of our gambling. We got to get rid of our drugs. We got to get rid of, overeating. We got to get rid of stealing, whatever it is. We got to get rid of the sex part. We got to get rid of the controlling. Those are things, there are certain things that, yes, you have to get them removed. They are not the type of character defects that you're just in the wrong perspective because you're using them in the wrong way because you just have not learned to do things a little bit different. So now, those things have to be removed quickly, and your sponsor is going to be working with you as well as you're working with you to help you know what to do when these things and these feelings pop up that lead you down these dark paths of destruction, these defects of character. But remember, it's when you're ready. That word ready is important in here because that word ready means, remember, willing and ready. So when you're ready, you will become willing, okay? It goes on to say, the moment we say, no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Delay is dangerous, and rebelling may be fatal. It says, this is the exact point on which we abandon limited objectives and move towards God's will for us. Okay? So we have to grace the moment of those defective characters that are really important, that have to leave, that have to go. We cannot play with those because those are the things that are usually the defects of character that is causing us to harm ourselves. Whether you're drinking or drugging or eating or whatever you're doing, or controlling and becoming codependent, whatever it is. And so we have to really study those and get into that. When your sponsor tells you this has got to go, look at this. Examine how you are when you're in that situation. Examine how you act. Examine what place you put yourself in those situations to feel like that, because that's very important. Sometimes it's the people that you're around or the place that you're around, or you're going back into something you shouldn't be going into. So you need to know this so that this big defective character will not be able to come up, because this thing has to go permanently. It cannot come back in you. Notice the feelings that you have. Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling tired? HALT is all about that. Just notice and go back and examine so that you can keep watch on those areas and know to stay away from those areas, because that defective character cannot come back because it causes too many problems. So we're at the end of our time. Yes, we're at the end of our time. And thank you so much for coming on today and listening to me. I hope you got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of it. As a matter of fact, when I was talking, I seen some things that I need to work on this week and really, think about, so those defective characters won't pop up on me. Well, get your literature. Study your literature, read your literature, go to meetings, get a sponsor, get the help that you need. I always say get the help that you need, and always, 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 always fight for you. Do not stop until you get what you want in this program. You stay, you fight, you ask questions. You're never getting on anybody's nerve in this program. You're never going to be told that that's ridiculous, that's crazy. We are not here to do that. We're here to love you and help you. And stay in these rooms, because you will get it. You will feel and become the person that you want to be. The 12 steps are designed for that. And I believe in them. They have worked miracles in my life. So until we meet again, blessings over you today, great people.